You know, when you arrive at Mana War Cemetery, you know, the realities of war really hit home. It's just an emotional experience when you stand there and you see more than 3,310 Australian soldiers' headstones there. You know, the cream of Australia's youth, you know, the future of Australia laying there in the ground. You know, just the waste of war, the futility of war, but the ultimate sacrifice. You know, there can be no greater sacrifice than these men gave was their lives, not only for their country but for their mates. And you know, it really sets the scene for an emotional and spiritual journey across Kokoda. The 39th Battalion, those rugged bloody heroes, you know, under-trained and under-resourced, a small band of brothers that did something extraordinary. You know, when you arrive at Brigade Hill, it's just the most emotional and spiritual place, I think, on the Kokoda track. You know, it's just really hard to get your head around what took place up here. You know, the bayonet charge and lefty language and Claude and I taking their pay books out and their dog tags and handing them back to their mates who weren't participating. You know, and minutes later, these men charged into the Japanese machine gun fire and lay dead on the ground at Brigade Hill. Just one of the most emotional and incredible places in Australia's history. You know, Isarava, the battle that saved Australia. You know, the Japanese are broken through the Australian lines, and down from headquarter companies comes, you know, Private Bristol Kingsbury, bare-chested in his shorts and picking up the Bren gun of a fallen comrade and charging in towards the Japanese and spraying his Bren gun at them, and the Japanese have just turned tail and run back down the hill. And, you know, just one of the most incredible single actions in Australia's history. You know, he saved the day. And unfortunately, as Bruce was you know, reloading his machine gun, a single bullet from a Japanese sniper has ended his life. And, you know, one of the most courageous and inspirational stories in Australia's history. You know, as the Battle of Isarava you know, is starting to unfold more, and the Australians decide that we needed to withdraw back further up the track there. You know, Corporal Charlie McCullen, you know, a Bren gun in one hand and a Thompson machine gun in the other, holds back the Japanese. You know, 30 or 40 Japanese are charging at him as his mates start to withdraw back up the track. You know, Charlie, he's killed more than 30. The Japanese get so close to him that they, you know, rip off his utility belt. You know, but his mates are able to escape due to the bravery of Charlie McCullen. At Isarava, you know, the Australians at withdrawal, Corporal John Metzen, shot through the ankles, you know, straps up his hands and his elbows and his feet. And so he's not a burden to his mates. You know, he doesn't want to be a stretcher case. He crawls behind the wounded soldiers not for 1 hour or 1 day, but for 3 weeks over some of the most inhospitable terrain on the Kokoda Trail. And, you know, he was left behind at a safe village at a place called Sangai with a medical orderly called Fletcher, whilst they went and got some assistance for him. But unfortunately, by the time the assistance came back, Metzen and Fletcher and a number of the other medical cases had been brutally murdered by the Japanese. You know, many people have heard the story of Butch and Stan Bissett. You know, the two brothers that were, you know, that had played rugby union together and grown up and travelled and done so many wonderful things together. But, you know, for Stan Bissett and to sit with his dying brother as the Battle of Isarava was raging below them and watch the life of his dear brother slowly ebb away, and it's just got to be one of the most emotional and difficult things to get your head around. You know, it just shows the loss of life and brutality of war and the personal effects it has on humans. You know, to lose a brother or to lose a mate in battle like that is so hard to comprehend. And Stan used to ask me constantly, Wayne, can you go and check you know, Butcher's grave for me at Mana War Cemetery there? And until the day he died, his eyes would well up with tears as he spoke about his dear brother Butch. You know, one of the most incredible stories of the Kokoda Trail campaign was that of Captain Sam Templeton, or Uncle Sam, you know, captured by the Japanese on the 26th of July and held captive for more than 14 days. And, you know, Sam was the first officer captured by the Japanese, so he was a great prize. and Sam took great delight in telling many stories to the Japanese, giving them false information, like there's 80,000 Allied troops waiting for you in Port Moresby, and how many of you are ever going to see your homeland again? Just the sheer tenacity and guts of this, this Australian soldier was enough for the Japanese to stop and prop and not move forward, unsure of what Sam was telling them was true or not. But this, information allowed the Allied forces to bring more troops forward to Isarava, and he saved the day. Yeah, one of the great experiences you're going to have on Kokoda is walking with the descendants of the Fuzzy Angels. Our carriers and porters and guides are all from the track, and their fathers or grandfathers or great grandfathers were the true champions of the Kokoda Trail campaign. Carrying our ammunition forward and our food forward, and then bringing back our wounded soldiers under horrendous conditions across raging rivers and up Razorback Mountains and down through some of the deepest and darkest valleys. True heroes of the Kokoda Trail is the Fuzzy Angels. People often ask me, walking hours Kokoda hours, but I tell you, when you're at Isarava and on your very last day and you're about to walk into Kokoda, you can feel the energy and spirit of our diggers, as they were marching triumphantly into Kokoda and raising that Australian flag on the 2nd of November, and triumphantly retaking Kokoda. It truly is a really incredible and emotional experience.